Hello, folks. I have some good and bad news. The bad news, we are going to talk about the crime. There's a lot we got to talk about. And we also got to talk about how the media is ignoring some of these stories. I mean, not every story gets ignored, but there are two major fires that happened here in Queens. And I want to thank my colleague Pine Power LI for covering what's been going on in Long Island. And yeah, I'm going to comment on his video because one of the incidents was very disturbing that happened right by Adventureland. So I urge you to watch his video because I was disturbed to find out that there was a crime near Adventureland. You know, I used to go to Adventureland a lot in Farmingdale as a kid, but that's scary to even think that it happened right by Broad Hollow Road. But we want to stick in New York City. This is my home. You all know that. I love my city, and right now my city is just going through a crime crisis. I think this is a worse pandemic than COVID. You know, not that many people want to admit that COVID can kill you. What about the crime? What about the crime? You know, we're back in the 1980s all over again, it looks like. It's gotten so bad that the Guardian Angels now want to patrol the subways. Yeah, well, I've never seen them in Kew Gardens. You know, this is where I'm going to call Curtis Lewa out. You know, if he wants me to support him, and I'll just mention this very quickly. You know, I'm going to do a video on Curtis Lewa and talk about why, you know, he's having an issue with me. Because that's another video I promise I'm going to do. Because now he's running for mayor, I have to talk about him. You know, we'll briefly bring him up, but I'll go more in depth and tease it at the end of this video. Now let's get to the good news. And this is the day I have been waiting for a long time coming. Patty Trottenberg is resigning. She will no longer be the commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation. So finally we can get the out-of-sync traffic lights fixed, hopefully. Because this woman is scared to ignore the problems I've been telling 311 over the years. Okay, let's get into this excellent news, because I'm telling you right now, the next DOT commissioner needs to prioritize getting traffic lights in sync. Let's get into this. The New York City Department of Transportation Commissioner Patty Trottenberg, on Monday, announced plans to resign in early December, nearly 7 years after she joined Mayor de Blasio's administration with the goal of reducing traffic deaths. Yeah, what about... Oh, man, see, more news. More news we gotta talk about. You know, this is what I mean. You know, and come to think of it, I don't even think they brought up the conductor getting punched. I'll have to find that one as I go along here. Alright, Trottenberg, who saw the city street sidewalks, Staten Island Ferry. She had been credited with pushing forward with bike and bus lanes. Yep, and even lacked support from the mayor. So, the problem is, there's a problem that maybe she's going to be the commissioner, well, probably the head of the Department of Transportation, the Biden administration. That's what I think is going on here. I don't know. But, bye-bye, Polly Trottenberg. You've made my life a living hell. You know, good riddance. You know, sorry to say it, but, you know, you haven't acknowledged the traffic lights being out of sync. You caused a fatality on the Belt Parkway a couple years ago with the construction on the bridge. What else has she done? Oh, yeah, made the parking a whole lot worse on 210th Street by 73rd Avenue in Cunningham Park. You know, that's a dangerous situation with that bike lane. That was a dumb idea to begin with. So, good riddance. Good riddance. And, you know, I hope you don't screw over the country if Biden names you. Because, honestly, you made my life a living hell. So, worse than de Blasio when it came to transportation. So, bye-bye, Polly Trottenberg. Happy this day has finally come. Been waiting for this day a long time. Everybody knows I've been waiting for her to resign. Oh, not to mention, I will bring this up. There have been accidents on Northern Boulevard. Again, there have been 2 accidents that I found out from Facebook. Yeah. You know, I talked about what is it? The bike lane, I think. Yeah, the bike lane by Ali Pond Conservatory on Northern Boulevard. Yeah, she's caused the problem over there too on Northern Boulevard. So this is a long time coming. Um, Again, she's double crossed Queen so many times. So bye bye Polly. Good riddance. Forgot to bring that up. So let's see. Conductor punched. Let's see if they have that. Because I saw something from 1010 wins. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Conductor punched an unprovoked attack. Yep. So I did see something a couple days ago. I'm not being paranoid. I wasn't being paranoid about that. So we'll get into that later on. I have a couple other stories we're going to get into, I guess. Other stuff that we have to discuss. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's why I gotta do a different mode here, because this is ridiculous. Ugh. Do apologize, folks. It happens. I'm gonna refresh this and see if it'll fix it. My goodness, I am so sorry, folks. I'm just gonna have to close out of the incognito tab and then come back to it. Ugh. Yeah, I was gonna talk about an update regards to what happened on Union Turnpike. I do have an important update regarding that. Let's see if it finally fixes it. Let's see. Does it fix it? Please fix it. Okay, good. It fixes it. Yeah, I'm going to get it up in just a second, so I do apologize. There we go. Okay. So guess what happened, folks? Crime on the subway is going up again. This is something you put in the you cannot make this stuff up department, is what Matt Camper said. So let's get into this. Because there was another incident in Brooklyn I'll get into. I'll get into the Guardian Angels at the end of the video, as I said. A subway conductor was punched in the face during an unprovoked attack while she was operating the doors of a train at Brooklyn Station, police said. The 38-year-old transit worker was aboard a Bay Ridge-bound N train at the Prospect Avenue station around 6:20 a.m. back on November 14th. Okay, so this happened about a week ago. When an assailant suddenly pounced her with a closed fist. Yep, look at this. Probably one of the mentally ill homeless. Why aren't I surprised? The men, described as 20 to 30 years old, ran from the station and escaped arrest. My goodness. He was last seen on surveillance video wearing a gray beanie, tan coat, and red sweatpants. Yep, that's a sign of homeless. The conductor suffered bruising and pain but declined medical attention. Oh my goodness. You know, if you got beaten up, of course you would take the medical attention. You know, that's the problem. You know, there could be wounds that need to be closed up. Stitches. My goodness. And remember, you have to, as a conductor, you have to stick out your head of the cab windows. And this is what Jamel Thompson from Progressive Action always talks about. Is that, look, where's the safety when you need it? This is what, you know, TWU Local 100 just seems to keep ignoring. And this is what Jamel keeps talking about. Imagine if he was still a train conductor. You know, his life would be at risk. Doing his job. Trying to support his daughter. You know how bad that would be? The spokesperson from the MTA called the attack about as despicable as one can go. Words veiled, the spokesperson said adding the agency was working with the NYPD in the investigation. So obviously, you know, he's probably on the loose. Well, there's pictures of him. I'm not surprised about this. I'm not. So, next story we're going to get into is a very urgent update regarding the drag racing in Fresh Meadows. Manslaughter. Because that was the charge. I'll just see if I can pull it up. Yeah, here we go. So we do have an important update on what happened in Queens, and this is where I'm going to talk about the problem in I do apologize. There we go. Got it. All right. So, turns out the drunk driver was from Albany. The Union Turnpike thing I talked about the other day. Well, guess what? From upstate New York. Upstate New York. Why was he on Union Turnpike? I'm sorry, folks. Sometimes you get personal about these stories. Just like how Pine Power and I were upset about, what happened near Adventureland. So, alright, let's get into it. So, 22-year-old drunk driver who killed a beloved Queens hospital worker. The 107 precinct had charged him with reckless manslaughter charges. Alamin Ahmed of Albany was going 97 miles per hour when his Mercedes-Benz sedan T-boned Daniel Crawford's Toyota Camry on Parsons Boulevard and Union Turnpike in Hillcrest back on Friday. So this happened back on the 20th. Okay. Making sure I have the date on my phone. Ahmed is also charged with criminally neglect homicide and driving under the influence, so he was charged with charged with a DUI. Okay, here we go. A Queens criminal court judge in Kew Gardens ordered Ahmed held on $25,000 bail during a brief arraignment proceeding on Saturday. If convicted, he faces 15 years in jail. So at least he's going to get a lengthy sentence, which honestly, he should. He's guilty. He's guilty. Loud Labs has him on tape getting arrested. So I cannot wait for the Loud Labs video to come out because there is going to be a video on Loud Labs from what I've heard. Alright, so Crawford was from New Jersey. And he was on his way to do his shift at Queens General Hospital. We had mentioned that. They rushed him to where he worked. He was a phlebotomist drawing blood samples. And he assisted with coronavirus cases, but couldn't be saved. So sadly, that's what happens. That's what happens. No surprise. Sadly, he was a proud dad of 2 sons, and he had welcomed the new baby grandson last week. So, turns out we have a new picture. This is a new photograph of what happened on Union Turnpike by Rite Aid. So, man, look at this. Yeah, I think the airbag did deploy. So that's good news at least. At least it proves the point that Toyota Camrys are safe vehicles, but the problem is the speed limit on Union Turnpike is 25 miles an hour. Why was this guy doing 100? Oh, we know why. Because nobody's on the road. Because of the pandemic. I bet you if it was a normal circumstance, there'd be people on the road. And there would have been more vehicles, sadly. But, that's what happens when people get their egos carried away and they think that they could just get away with it because there's a pandemic, but there's still rules on the road. Now, what can you do to prevent something like this? Honestly, nothing. Honestly, nothing. People do make stupid decisions still. Alright, so let's get into the next one. We gotta talk about this shooting that happened in Brooklyn last night. And Loud Labs was actually on the scene of the crime last night. So, again, that's why I can respect Loud Labs. I suggest to just subscribe to their YouTube channel. You can go on YouTube, look them up. Loud Labs NYC. Recommend them. Okay, so happened at Sweet 16 party in Brooklyn. Gunfire erupted where the bash was being held on Albany Avenue near Fulton Street at about 11:15 p.m. last night. When officers arrived, they found a scene of carnage and a ballistics trail that led from outside the building to the lobby to the third-floor apartment where the party was being held. A 20-year-old woman was struck in the buttocks going to Woodhull Hospital by private means and died there at 12:36 a.m. Monday. Her name was not immediately released. You know what? I could probably use this for the thumbnail. Let me do that in the meantime. Yeah, because I'm going to have to make a collage of the thumbnail today. And then there was another disturbing incident. Another stabbing in the Bronx that I'm going to get into. The media didn't even cover that. So sadly, there was a fatality in this shooting in Brooklyn, which I'm not surprised. A 16-year-old boy was shot in the upper body. He's in critical condition at Kings County Hospital. The others wounded are a 19-year-old man shot in the upper body, a man and woman both 18, and a boy 15, all hit in the leg, and a 24-year-old girl struck in the buttocks. Oh, okay, so they were all taken to separate hospitals. There was another shooting earlier. A teen was hit in the leg after the first original party site at a hall on Liberty Avenue into the apartment building. So they had detectives over in North Brooklyn because there were 911 calls of large crowds gathering before 8 p.m. So I don't know why there was even a party when, first of all, Cuomo changed the rules. Why was there even a party at 10 p.m. last night anyway when there's a 10 p.m. Curfew? You know, it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Alright, so I guess we'll go to the last story on the Daily News. Oh, hang on. Did I lose the other one? Stabbing in the Bronx? I want to get into that. And the Post has an article. Good. Alright, so let's get into this one. 36-year-old woman was found stabbed to death at a Bronx motel early Sunday, police said. The victim, who has not been identified, was discovered at the Holiday Motel at 2291 New England Thruway in the Eastchester section of the borough. So, see what I mean? I was watching 4 and 7 last night. They didn't mention this. This is a big deal. There was a stabbing in the Bronx last night. My goodness. Police said a man was spotted fleeing the scene on foot, but no arrests have been made. No further details were currently available. You know, I'm not surprised about this. And then the last thing that happened, there was a hit and run in Brooklyn last night. Let's see, can I even find it? Yeah, here we go, see? This is the one I was looking at. There was a hit and run in Brooklyn last week. Actually, a couple weeks ago. You didn't bring this one up. A motorist badly hurt in a Brooklyn hit-and-run crash with an SUV last month has passed. George Williams was heading west on Prospect Avenue in Brownsville on October 15th and recently purchased a 2013 Honda motorcycle when he was struck by a Kia Soul going north on Thomas S. Boylan Street around 2:25 a.m. Oh, okay, so this was before the 10 p.m. curfew started. Williams, who suffered massive head injuries in the crash, died Monday at Brookdale Hospital, police said. Wow, so this happened on... so he passed on November 9th. That's sad. Oh, and look at this. The driver and passenger of the Kia SUV both jumped out of the vehicle. You know, I'm not surprised about this. Alright, that day Williams died. 200 people gathered at a vigil outside his home. So, again, this is what I mean. The media ignores some of these stories. It's not acceptable. It's just not. Anything else in the crime? I'm going to check the Daily News for a second. That's disgusting. Inmate hangs himself inside Manhattan jail. Yep. Oh, there's more good news. At least there's AstraZeneca vaccine's 90% effective. That's good news. See what I mean? More COVID. More COVID. Alright, so I'm not going to get... Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, this one. Yes, this is the one I was looking for. Driver who fatally struck Brooklyn woman charged with DUI. An unlicensed driver who fatally struck a 62-year-old woman as she crossed the street steps from a Brooklyn home had been charged with DWI, police said on Monday. Jasmine Nimahu, 49, was charged with DWI and aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle. Nimahu, who lives in Brooklyn, was also charged with refusing to take a breath test. Though a relative told the Daily News he wasn't drunk and in fact did take the test. So this happened mid-block on Atlantic Avenue near 3rd Avenue in Bourne Hill when a red 2015 Hyundai Sonata struck her about 7:45 p.m. Sunday. So the driver is a male who is almost 50. My goodness. Yep, so again, I didn't see this on the news last night either. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, again, this happened last night. Happened last night, and the media didn't even bring this up. You know, this is a major big deal, a hit and run in Brooklyn. You know, all they're focused on is the virus. That's all they're talking about. Alright, so let's move on. So it's bad enough for dealing with drag racing and Fresh Meadows. Turns out St. Albans is having problems with drag racing. Alright, so the 113th precinct, they're working on the DOT trying to get traffic calming measures in 2 places and still studying the 3rd. Okay, so they're concerned about drag racing on 116th Avenue between 197 and 201st Street. Yes, so, they're also looking at Farmers Boulevard, which Farmers Boulevard has multiple lanes of traffic, so that doesn't surprise me they're looking into that. Oh, look at this. In October, a resident complained that motorcyclists were speeding. And look, crime overall in the 113th precinct has gone up. So obviously, you know, St. Albans is not really a good area to be in. You know, because the housing is affordable, I guess, and people do look into that. Yeah, so I don't want to get into that, but you know, it's also St. Albans. Wow. I mean, the media doesn't want to bring up the fact that Fresh Meadows and now St. Albans have problems with drag racing. And then we're going to get into this. Now, I think I brought this up, but if I didn't, there was a hostage situation in Richmond Hill last week. And people were held in their home because robbers broke in. So, 5 people were involved, including an infant. Alright, so, there was a robbery in progress. So, officers were informed by a 36-year-old woman, who was with her infant daughter that unknown men were with firearms. So, this happened at, let me think. Yeah, what day did this happen last week? I know it happened last week. Yeah, it happened on Wednesday. Right. So other women were involved. Even a 92-year-old woman. Wow. So, who was arrested? I just want to see that part. Because they said 2 men were arrested, right? Now this is interesting. During the hostage negotiations... This is interesting. They asked the police for pizza? Really? They asked the police for pizza during the whole hostage situation. Ah. You know, this is the idiocracy of our city right here. You know, I'm just telling you right now, folks. You may think your neighborhood's boring, but I'm telling you right now. You know, the other day I saw my neighbor over the weekend. She literally left her front door open. Her front door open. In fact, let me take a look and see if she's even home. Well, she's home, thank goodness. But, you know, that's stupid. That's why a lot of these crimes are happening. Because people are leaving their front door unlocked. Basic common sense. You know? These criminals are so desperate because of a pandemic. I get that. But, you know, be careful because your neighborhood may make the news and your neighborhood may be on Andy's randomness. So, just be careful. Alright, so let's get into what's going on. Other crime news. So, get this. More crime in Midtown. Why aren't I surprised about this? Why aren't I surprised? Alright, so first incident happened to two bros on 8th Avenue and West 38th Street back on Saturday. And both of them were fatal. So this happened, the first stabbing 9:15 p.m. Saturday, West 38th and 8th Avenue. Police found the unidentified male unconscious and suffering stab wounds to the torso. He was brought to Bellevue Hospital where he was pronounced dead. They have not named any suspects, nor arrests have been made. And then get this. Right by Penn Station. Second stabbing took place at 8:30 a.m. at the intersection of 34th Street and 8th Avenue, where a 51-year-old man was stabbed in the back after getting into an argument with an unknown individual. Thankfully, in this situation, the second stabbing near Penn Station, the victim didn't pass. That's good news. But in both incidents, no arrests have been made. Now, this is interesting. You know, people in Hell's Kitchen are being very vocal about this. Thank goodness. Because, you know, Hell's Kitchen is supposed to be a decent area. And the residents don't deserve this. So, look at this. All right. An evening message to the members of the Hell's Kitchen Neighborhood Action Committee. The co-chairwoman is Holly Ann Devlin. All right. So, we're also going to get into a hotel. Because a lot of these incidents are happening from the homeless hotels, too. So let's get into that. Devlin reassured residents the attacks stem from arguments between individuals who are known to each other rather than random assaults of members of the public. So, that's decent news, but it could go there too. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Another major incident. What happened? I don't even think the media brought this one up too. This is a major news story. Stagehand killed and fought at Broadway's Winter Garden Theater. This happened on, when did this happen? Yeah, it happened on Thursday on the 12th, 2 weeks ago. Around 8:45 a.m. Thursday, right? This happened, 2 weeks ago. 54-year-old worker was doing routine repairs at the Winter Garden Theater on Broadway between 50th and 51st Street when he fell from the fly floor, an elevated platform above the stage, according to police and a theater spokesperson. Police responded within minutes and found the man unconscious and unresponsive on the floor. They took the man to Mount Sinai Hospital where he was pronounced dead. See what I mean? Right, and remember, Broadway announced that all theaters are going to be closed until May. I mean, most likely with the vaccine, especially because the AstraZeneca news this morning was promising, 90% effective on AstraZeneca. So, Broadway's coming back next year, hopefully. I mean, maybe it'll be the summer or the fall, most likely. All right, so let's get into this one. And I'll mention, we need Broadway back in Midtown because that's the heart and soul of Midtown Manhattan, besides Rockefeller Plaza, the shopping, Times Square. We need Broadway back because the crime in Midtown's out of hand, but a light at the end of the tunnel would at least be having Broadway back. All right, so look at this. The Renwick Hotel is going to be converted into a homeless shelter. So it'll be at 118 East 40th Street. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Let me look up this address. 114 East 40th Street. That rings a bell. In Manhattan, right? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Right by Bryant Park. Right by Bryant Park. My goodness, DeBozo. You really know how to kill the fun. You really know how to kill the fun. It's going to become an adult family shelter open to 170 homeless families without minor children. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. And they confirmed this. Look at this. The community board's going through with it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yep, and they're moving it because the people on the Upper West Side, I understood I felt bad for them, but, why are you trying to put more problems by Bryant Park? My goodness. Yeah, see, they have it right here. Look. 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 And look how close this is to Wendy's. Look how close this is to Wendy's on 3rd and 45th. Before the pandemic, I always used to eat there a lot. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Alright, so let's move on. Alright, 2 fires that have happened, and the media ignored these. Alright, the FDNY is investigating the cause of an early morning blaze in Glendale over the weekend. On Saturday, November 21st, around 3:30 a.m., the fire department received calls about a fire inside 8807 Aubrey Avenue, according to the FDNY. So I'll look up where this address is. Where did this happen in Glendale? Oh, no. Right by Wendy's. Yep, I know exactly where this area is. Right by St. John Cemetery. And not too far from where the Shops at Atlas Park is. My goodness. Oh. Alright, let's move on. Let's move on back to the article. 12 units and around 80 emergency responders at the scene. The fire inside the 2-story home was placed under control less than an hour later, around 4:15 a.m. No residents or the fire department personnel were injured during the fire. Well, at least the good news is nobody got hurt or killed. But, this is a big deal. A major fire in Glendale. I only found out from the Queen's Chronicle. And then look at this. Another fire that happened in Far Rockaway. Back on Thursday last week. Alright, so here's what it said. 3 alarm fires swept through the high-rise in Far Rockaway. None of the injuries were life-threatening, the FDNY reported, and all were treated at area hospitals. The fire broke out on November 18th, so that's last Wednesday, at 8:30 p.m. on the 5th floor at 2211 New Haven Avenue and quickly spread to the 6th floor of the 6-story building. So, let's see where this place is. So I might know where it is. Yeah, not that far from Bayswater Park. Yep. No surprise there. When firefighters arrived, they found all of the occupants have self-evacuated, but some are either on fire escape or inside the smoke-filled hallways. So, I mean, this was scary. I mean, somebody had dogs or cats. Firefighters feared the blaze could have spread into the roof cocklift and destroyed the entire building. 160 firefighters were called into this one apartment. 6 hoses were used to extinguish the fires. Oh, man, you know, this is what I mean. No, I didn't see any of the media bring this up. No, I didn't. Oh, and by the way, Century 21's going to be closing soon, which, that's sad to even bring up. It's going to be a vacancy in Regal Park now. There's also going to be a vacancy across the street from Channel 7 Studios on Columbus Avenue, too. Now, here's something interesting. Star Toyota of Bayside used fraudulent, deceptive, and unlawful practices to sell and finance vehicles to Chinese speakers who lacked English language skills and were not familiar with typical auto sale practices. The dealer will have to pay $100,000 in civil penalties to the state and $186,855 in restitution to 21 known customers. So karma finally came to Star Toyota. And you know why I'm happy about this? Because they have been a bad tenant to Auburndale, because they have double-crossed Osnum so many times when visitors and employees have had to look for street parking near the nursing home facility. This is karma brought to them. And this is more illegal than putting their dealership cars in the street. And I can also thank Congresswoman Grace Ming, besides Letitia James. So Letitia James finally does something right. I gotta give her credit. All just because the buyers were lack of English and they took advantage of them. Ah. Oh, okay, this is interesting. So, these customers were deceived sometime from January 1st of 2014 to March 1st of 2018. That's very interesting. Because I remembered, when I was first starting in Osnum, when we had our orientation, somebody was vocal to the teacher in the education part, because I had to go to the education seminar. It was required in the building. It was actually a parent who wanted the chaperone, I guess, one of the younger volunteers, and she said, "Oh, over the years, and I've noticed this, and I live right by the facility, you know, Star Toyota always had, you know, their dealership cars parked in the street, and it had no license plates, you know." At least karma finally came to Star Toyota. I'm happy about that, at least. That's excellent news. Okay, so now we're going to talk about 2021 mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa claiming to be vocal, opening his big fat mouth. And again, we're going to do a video on Curtis Sliwa because, again, it has to be done. There's going to be a video about him this week. I'm going to work on it. If not, we'll do it on the weekend, or maybe I'll even do a special live stream about him. Alright, so let's get into this. The recent rash of crime on the subway is now calling the guardian angels to take action. They are now pledging to tackle the problem on the platforms to help curb crime and get mentally ill individuals the help they need. New Yorkers were used to seeing the guardian angels frequently back in the 1980s with the spike in subway crimes. They say they want to help. Curtis Sliwa, aka 2021 mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa, the founder of the Precious Guardian Angels, said the recent uptick in violent crime has many shaken. We are going to critique the emotionally disturbed persons and see if we can enforce the issue and get them the mental health care they deserve. Yeah, right. Another celebrity politician. We don't need that right now. Alright, so let's get into this one. Alright, so crime has gotten up. Hang on. I don't even think they're going to talk about what happened in Atlantic Avenue and Barclays. Let me see if I can even find it. But I'll get into the other ones quickly before we wrap this up. I've been going for almost an hour, man. I don't care. I really do not care. Here we go. So look at this. I know I don't want to talk about Brooklyn, but, I talked about other disturbing incidents that happened in Brooklyn. Might as well. Alright, so here's what happened in Atlantic Avenue and Barclays. A 29-year-old strap hanger became the latest New Yorker to be shoved on the subway tracks. It happened on Sunday, so it happened yesterday. The victim was on a northbound 4 train shortly before 11:30 a.m. when his attacker, who had been sleeping, woke up and began screaming at him. It was unclear what the suspect was screaming. When the victim and his girlfriend got off at the Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center stop, which, by the way, that is where my friend Jason Anthony's home station is, the screaming man also got off and followed the couple, then punched him onto the southbound tracks before running off. The victim was able to get back onto the platform and not seriously hurt him. And remember, Union Square last week, we talked about that, and then there was another incident at Bryant Park. And then look at this. Look at this. So, well, again, I wish the Guardian Angels would be in Kew Gardens. And, I'm going to call them out next year. After we do our epic live stream about Curtis Lever and the Guardian Angels this weekend, that's how I think I'm going to approach this. We may do it on Saturday. I think Saturday is going to be a perfect day to do it. And I'm going to have to read this article offline when I'm done with this video. But, yeah, here we go. Sunday morning, a 51-year-old man was stabbed in the back after a dispute at Penn Station. On Saturday night, a man was slashed and punched in the face at Grand Central Terminal. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There was another incident? Hey, I think Loud Labs did a video about it. Let me see. Grand Central stabbing. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Another incident. My goodness. Let's read this one. Alright, so this happened on Saturday. The 53-year-old victim was arguing with an unidentified attacker on a downtown 4 train when the assailant whipped out a knife and cut him across the face. And a second suspect, identified police by Benigno Perez, 37, slugged the victim, although police say he did not know either man. When the train stopped at Grand Central at 10:15 p.m., the fight spilled out onto the platform with other strap hangers holding back Perez, who was arrested at the scene. Oh, look at this. He's listed as a resident of the Manhattan Psychiatric Center on Ward's Island. Was given a summons for assault. And look at this. This person is 12th prior arrest. He was probably let out on bail reform. I'm not surprised. Including for assault and patronizing a prostitute, and he had been fed without bail on felony robbery case when he allegedly slugged a strap hanger. So this happened on October 20th. Yeah, charged with third-degree robbery on October 22nd. Oh, and look at this. He has to go back to court in January. And they have another attacker wearing a blue jacket, took off, and he was in his mid-40s. Well, victim was taken to Bellevue and listed in stable condition. Mm-hmm. They're evil children. Exactly. It makes sense. But honestly, folks, honestly, I'm just going to ask you an honest question. You honestly think that Curtis Lewa is our Lord and Savior? I honestly don't think so. And this is where we're going to get into a deep background of Curtis Lewa over the weekend. So I'll do that live stream on Saturday because we're going to talk about this person. We're going to talk about this person because it needs to be discussed. And I will just mention one last thing. Look, we're going to get into also why I was blocked. So stay tuned on Saturday because it's coming. It's coming. And if Jamel Thompson wants to be vocal about the Guardian Angels, Jamel, you have absolutely every right to talk about them if you want from Progressive Action. You know, we have to call out Curtis Lewa because honestly, I'm disgusted as a Republican to think that this is going to be the guy who's going to lead my party in 2021. Really? So we'll get into him over the weekend. So that's it. We're going to wrap this up. Thank you all for watching. And, remember, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to keep talking about the crime as much as we have to. And for news about crime in Long Island, please subscribe to Pine Power LI. For frequent crime updates, please subscribe to Loud Labs NYC. So, thank you all for watching. Until the next one, please take care.